Before we begin, I appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button and comment down below about your favorite isekai anime. Without further ado, let's start. An anonymous man gets hit by a fender bender and kicks the bucket on the spot. However, though no one can easily explain why, he later gets resurrected as a sword in a substitute world. As he looks into his new environmental elements, he understands that he can acquire new powers and increment his abilities by killing beasts around him. Consequently, he begins utilizing this information for his potential benefit and gradually turns out to be all the more remarkable every day. He sees that the further he goes from the spot he was resurrected in, the more remarkable beasts he meets. Yet, it additionally gives him the additional benefit to defy hazardous foes to gain more compelling powers. The mysterious sword utilizes this chance to investigate new locales, turning out to be all the more impressive in the process. When he shows up in the withered backwoods and attempts to take a rest, he understands that he is stalled out in the mud and can't utilize any of his powers. Somewhere else, a youthful feline young lady carries on with an existence of wretchedness while working for people who have subjugated her kin. Despite being dehumanized every day, they can't do much as the accessory and slave contract makes them unequipped for representing themselves, as they couldn't decline any requests given to them regardless of how absurd they might be. One ordinary night, the people use carriages to cross the shriveled woods that conveys their deer and the oppressed feline individuals. While the weather conditions aren't extremely wonderful, it turns into not worth fretting over when they understand that they are being trailed by a savage two-headed bear. Utilizing his savage strength, the monster effectively figures out how to throw the carriage to the side, compelling individuals to emerge from it. The people who are in charge of the slaves request them to remain in their place, with the goal that they could at any point take off, while the monster is in the middle of chasing others down. Since the jewelry makes it unimaginable for the feline individuals to resist their proprietors, they are caught in their place. Be that as it may, when the human who provided them their orders attempts to escape, he is trapped in the slaughter begun by the two-headed bear. As the collection of one of the feline individuals falls on him, he can't continue on time and the monster simply pulverizes him on the spot. After his demise, the request he provided for his slaves becomes negligible and the feline individuals are allowed to make tracks. Sadly, it is past the point of no return for a large portion of them, as the two-headed bear is excessively close and effectively starts to kill them consistently. Fortunately, the courageous feline young lady who had recently attempted to stand firm for her kin sees the enchanted sword caught in the mud directly before her. She burns through no time, snagging him. That is the point at which she and the otherworldly sword understand that they can impart involving clairvoyance when they are in touch. The last option urges the feline young lady to remove him from the mud and use him to retaliate. At the point when the two-headed monster nearly gets to her, the mystical blade utilizes supernatural power to take her a couple of feet away past the scope of the monster. In the wake of getting capacities like blade wizardry, sword craftsmanship, and firepower by ability sharing, the youthful feline young lady battles against the two-headed hold-on for the enchanted sword in her grasp. The fight is uneven. The pair effectively figures out how to kill the monster eventually. In the wake of killing the two-headed bear, the youthful feline young lady offers her thanks and is going to leave the mysterious blade where she tracked down him. However, the last option communicates his longing to oblige the young lady. In any case, before she could pursue a choice, one of the people that has endured the slaughter by taking off shows up there. At the point when he sees the feline young lady with the blade, he requests that she hand him over. At the point when she declines, he provides her with a request to show that she is in his control regardless of what she needs. He proceeds to boast about and show the slave agreement to her, to advise her that she will continuously need to follow his orders. The supernatural sword that has been hearing their discussion up to this point utilizes supernatural power and capability to copy the actual agreement, which liberates the feline young lady from her life of subjugation right away. Incidentally, the young lady's name is Fran and she begins calling the enchanted blade Shirsho in the wake of discovering that he doesn't have a name. Moreover, she likewise concurs with his solicitation to turn into his actual wielder from that day onwards. Fran's parents wanted to evolve desperately and decided to embark on the seemingly impossible quest. despite the dangers. Despite overexerting themselves, they never achieved their goal and perished in the process. Now, Fran plans to turn their dreams into reality, and with the magic sword with her, it does sound like a real possibility. The eccentric duo comes across an adventurer named Randall who was ambushed by goblins and is struggling to defend himself. Fran does not think twice and immediately springs into action. She slaughters them one after another and eventually manages to save Randall without any injuries. Realizing that she can be helpful and offer him protection, Randall offers to take her to Alessa town for free, but Fran sees right through it thanks to the magic sword. However, Fran accepts Randall's help. On their way, the two get to know each other a little and the former finds out about adventurers. The job immediately strikes her as interesting, so she decides to earn her guild card as soon as possible. However, when they reach Alessa, the magic sword is surprised to see so many weapons with superior stats. He begins to lose confidence, but Fran reassures her that he is unlike any one of them. Fran then visits the nearby Adventurers Guild where she meets the receptionist, Nell. When the black catgirl tells her that she plans to register herself, Nell naturally doubts her abilities. She informs Fran that the test is going to involve many risks and the guild will not take responsibility if she gets seriously injured. Such warnings do not affect Fran, who is determined to get her guild pass. Nell takes Fran to a powerful Oni named Donadrand, who is going to test her abilities and finally decide whether she is worthy of the guild card or not. The examiner's aura is menacing and Nell knows that sometimes it is more than enough to turn away candidates who do not appear promising. However, to her surprise, Fran is unperturbed by Donadrand's show-off. The magic sword knows that the examiner is very powerful and tells Fran to not hold back this time. Meanwhile, the people in the Adventurers Guild who saw the black catgirl register for the exam believe that she won't last long in the test. As the fight begins, Donadrand uses his superior speed to surprise Fran on multiple instances as she barely gets time to react. The examiner is relentless and one of his attacks is so powerful that even Nels thinks that he is overdoing it. Luckily, Fran avoids serious injury by using the sword to reduce the impact. Donadrand is impressed by her presence of mind. Meanwhile, the sword decides to use supportive magic that temporarily increases Fran's STR and AGI. In her next attack, she manages to leave a cut on the examiner's biceps thanks to superior sword mastery. Donadrand feels that even though her skills are impressive, they won't be able to save her for long. Unfortunately, that assessment turns out to be very inaccurate. Fran, thanks to the help of her magic sword, starts using magic along with her sword skills that catch the examiner off guard. Meanwhile, Nell is shocked as she believes that using both at the same time will require 2 brains. Donadrand does not last long after that and the test is finished with Fran standing tall while the examiner is buried under rubble. After the test, Donadrand along with Fran go to the guild master Klimt, who is also impressed by the black catgirl's superior abilities. She is then taken to get her mana wavelength checked and Nell is shocked to realize that she is fit for multiple classes and can master any one of them. However, Fran chooses the Sword Mage class boost, following which she receives her adventurer registration and the guild pass. After that, she gets gold in exchange for the monsters she has slaughtered. Unfortunately, a few mercenaries believe she cheated, so they disrespect the cat tribe and try to bully her. Fran does not hold back and teaches them a lesson for crossing their limits. After acquiring the guild card and becoming a registered adventurer, Fran starts exploring Alessa city with her sword. Teacher recalls that the town is home to a legendary blacksmith. While they are walking around the market, a dwarf named Gurus asks Fran to visit his shop as he wishes to sell her his equipment. However, Teacher uses his powers and is able to figure out that he is none other than the honorary wandering blacksmith of Granzel. Although he tells Fran to follow Gurus back to his shop, Teacher advises her to keep her guard up at all times. Garrus later confesses that he saw Fran fight in the Adventurers Guild and it gave him a good idea of her fighting prowess. He only sells his equipment to worthy customers and Fran has already passed the test by standing up to the bullies. At the shop, Gurus gives her high-quality gear that costs 150,000 gold. Although it is expensive, Fran decides to buy the enchanted armor as it makes her far stronger than she actually is. However, Gurus surprises her by revealing that he knows that the sword she is carrying is actually an intelligence weapon. Furthermore, he also figures out that Fran can even interact with it. While Teacher believes that he is just an ordinary sword because of his average attack stat. Gurus argues that it would not be an appropriate criterion to judge the true extent of his powers. He explains that Teacher can significantly boost his attack stat thanks to this mana conductivity power. Gurus goes on to reveal that Teacher could only be forged by one of the divine blacksmiths, who are credited with the creation of 5 legendary weapons. Since he is one of the best at developing best-in-class equipment. Teacher pays Gurus lavishly to make a scabbard for himself and other gear for Fran. After promising to meet the honorary wandering blacksmith of Granzel a few weeks later, Fran and Teacher go to the market for shopping. They visit a clothes shop where Fran buys herself everything she needs, after which they purchase food and book an inn. After a good sleep, Fran decides to fulfill her duties as an adventurer. However, she soon learns that G-rank adventurers are typically tasked to look for herbs. The only monster-related quest that they can be assigned is subjugating level 3 goblins. While Fran is on her first quest as an adventurer to find herbs, she is startled by the commotion from a nearby place. When she manages to finally reach there, she is surprised to find out that the goblins that have previously ambushed Randall have now managed to evolve into hobgoblins. By managing to surround adventurers, Lily, Krull, and Eustace, from all sides, they appear to be planning to hunt them down. Teacher immediately understood how the fight will unfold, as the adventurers were not only outnumbered but were also nowhere near skillful enough to kill the hobgoblins. Fran realized that only she could save them, so without a care for her own life, she decided to fight the beasts. She pushed herself to the extreme and managed to slay the hobgoblins, saving the lives of 3 adventurers who are also of the same rank as her. However, once the fight is finished, one of these adventurers points to the concerning numbers of hobgoblins in the region, which could only be explained by the presence of a goblin king. But, if this turns out to be true, then the king will eventually find a goblin queen to give birth to his own army of hobgoblins, which will be disastrous. Soon their numbers will grow so much that they will start invading human land for food and other needs. Since the hobgoblins were found near Alessa City, it is a potential target for attack. Realizing the threat they pose, Fran does not think twice before deciding to find their den so that they are killed before the Goblin King and Queen meet each other to create their army.